This is Mind the Forest, a podcast of the Louisiana Forestry Association. Hi, I'm your host, Jeff Zeringue. In Mind the Forest, we talk about forestry and how important managed forests are to the environment and ecosystems, as well as many aspects of the forest products industry. Forest landowners, loggers, and wood manufacturers such as lumber, paper, and pellet mills all play an important role in the conservation and management of forests for the important renewable natural resource it is. Managed forests offer more for wildlife and water protection. And that's why the LFA advocates to keep forests as forests. This episode of Mind of the Forest is sponsored by First South Farm Credit. First South is your premier rural lender. With over 100 years financing timber and agriculture, they have the expertise you're looking for when financing rural property. If you're looking to purchase or refinance land, call your local First South Farm Credit office, or you can find them online at firstsouthland.com. Each year, the LFA and the Louisiana Logging Council select an Outstanding Louisiana Logger. In 2024, that was Casey Durand of Central Timber Services. In episode 54 of Mind of the Forest, we had a chance to visit with Casey and talk about his time as Logger of the Year. And we also talk about the state of the logging industry. We have with us Casey Durand. Casey was the 2024 Outstanding Louisiana Logger. We celebrated you last summer at our annual meeting, and now you've gone on to almost a year now that you've been Outstanding Logger. Tell us a little bit about, let's tell us a bit about yourself before we get started. How'd you get started?
Oh, well, I've worked with my grandfather and then my father. We've been doing it forever, I guess it seems like, but that's it. We just passed it on from generation to generation, and so far we've been successful, so we'll keep trying it this way.
Well, if you have that many generations, that's proving you're doing something well.
That's right. No doubt.
So you started with your grandfather, you said?
Yeah, okay. Owen Durand Sr.
All right. What were you doing for your grandfather?
I originally started off, and then we had set hens, so you had to trim in the set. So we always started there, and then I went to running a pincher head cutter, and then just always cut for shears or saw heads or whatever you want to call them. That's what I've always done.
Okay. And then you got to work with your dad?
Yeah, my dad, he started off with trucking under my grandfather, and then he was his foreman also. And then my dad, my grandfather got ill. My dad took over. And then when I got out of school, I drove for him under his banner. And then I eventually became his foreman and run his job, till he retired.
How was that working with your dad?
Oh, it was great. My dad's cool. He was always a good guy. Still is. He was a type guy that he led by example. That's where I kind of do it. I mean, I work every day out there. I don't, it's just the way I've always done it. And that's the way he was. And then one day he come to me, he said, I'm going home. I was like, what do you mean you're going home? He's like, well, says you got to learn how to make decisions. He says if you can't make decisions, you can't run a job or anything else. And he went home.
Wow.
But he'd come back every day. But, he would leave and something happened. It was up to me. He said, make a decision, right or wrong. You had to make one.
Yeah.
And through trials of fire, I guess you could say, I got most of them right.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well,
that's how you do it.
Yeah, he taught you enough to be able to make those decisions.
Yeah, he didn't leave me out there high and dry, but it was definitely, and he was 100% right. You have to make a decision, right or wrong. You make one, make the best educated guess you can, and go with it.
Kind of scary working without a net, though, isn't it?
Yeah, no doubt. I failed a few times, more than a few, I can promise you, but I've got back up. So,
what do you miss most about working with your dad?
He was a good hand. I hate to say it, you can't replace good hands anymore. I mean, he showed up every day and he done his job, and and that was probably the most important thing. But I mean, he was family, and most of us in that generation was family, and we seen each other every day. And that's probably what I miss, is seeing him every day. I can still go see him, but it's not every day. It's not, as much time as it was.
Yeah. I remember talking with your dad when we were working on a story for some people last year, and he said, "Yeah, went in and told the principal, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get into logging," and left school and did very well for himself.
Oh yeah.
So I suspect you didn't walk out of high school.
Probably
didn't let you.
No, my mom would have killed me. But I didn't go to college. But it's not for everybody.
Right.
I guess I could look back and say, boy, I kind of wish I would have at times for different things. But we've made it through the computer era and everything so far, catching on with that. And we've done well, I guess you could say, with that. But he was just always that type. Back then, if you worked really hard, if you wanted to work, you could make a living.
Yeah.
Especially in this type of field, right. And today it's not like that anymore.
A lot different, huh?
Yeah. You can want to work or work, but if you're not doing things to the T, right with your finances and your decisions, then it's not really up to you as much anymore.
Yeah. Well, we'll get more of the challenges in a little bit, but and you're coming up, really, you saw a lot of technology changes, a lot of upgrades, a lot of different ways of doing things. And as you mentioned earlier, where you started, those jobs don't really exist anymore, do they?
No.
Okay, so bring me through some of the process of how did you keep up with the technology, and how did you make those changes?
Well, I mean, we was lucky. We always had good jobs, I guess you could say, to where if something come out or something we could afford to, give it a whirl. I mean, we looked over everything. I can remember in my grandpa's day when things were really changing. Back then, you would go out on a job and they would bring a new machine out that was, it was something they was testing. I mean, and a lot of them that I seen back in the day never made it to the light of day. I mean,
really?
Yeah, they would come out and they would test it, and when they was trying to come up with the hot saws, which is like the cutters now, they tried many different versions of that before they got it right, and they would bring it out, different companies from Caterpillar to Franklin to John Deere and all these, and they would bring them out and say, hey, use it, and then tell us what's wrong with it, give us some feedback.
Oh, okay.
And they would bring it out, and you'd use it, and you'd tell them yay or nay, or and because at the time when we was cutting everything with a pincher head, it compressed the fiber. So a lot of your plywood mills and stuff at that time, they couldn't spin it because it would be compressed on the ends, and it wouldn't peel right. So they was looking for a way to get away from that. Yeah, and that's how the saw head, or whatever you want to call it, come into being.
Was there a machine that you tested that you, I guess in short term, said, get this thing off my job? Yeah, this is not working.
No, there's been several. There have been several skidder mods and stuff back in the day. We don't do it as much anymore because it's a lot of in-house stuff. But back then, I mean, they'd bring a skidder demo out there or something to test it, and they just wouldn't turn. I mean, it was just different. They had to be right compared to a good machine, and we wouldn't, be rude or nothing, but run it for a few hours, or my dad would get on it and he'd just go park it, and he said, this ain't for us. They come pick it up. But
what was, I guess the most enjoyable part of watching the technology advance and get better and improve your efficiency? What was that?
I don't know. I mean, probably just in the safety part of it, I guess you would say, because we was family. I mean, and when you got away from the power saw part, you know, that was a big thing. There was more than one time I seen people get cut, which wasn't fun.
Wow.
But I mean, it was just part of it back then. It was all the mechanized stuff. It sped everything up for better or worse. You know, because now you can produce more, and that in turn, you know, when you're doing the supply and demand things,
right?
You know, if it's not in demand, you know, what I mean, it's kind of hard to. It's kind of some of the things we're running into right now.
Yeah.
But it made everything safer, and it made it you could produce more tons, but in a way that might have hurt us in the long run.
Is the mechanization of logging, is that what's led to, I guess, what, fewer loggers nowadays than?
No, I don't think. I don't know. I don't know if we have fewer loggers. I don't know the answer to that. Numbers, y'all would have that, but I know there's not enough outlets for the timber. I mean, you know,
it would be better to increase the number of places you can bring logs to.
Well,
for sure.
that's all driven by the economy and stuff like that. But we only have a handful of places, and everybody's trying to get there.
Yeah,
you know, and then with our shortage and, you know, our paper mill going down, that has really, and it's been like that in other parts of the country for a long time. We've been blessed with having a good pulp outlet, you know, and we could get rid of it, but it's just finally caught up with us. Yeah. And now we're going to have to adjust, and it's going to be a long summer.
So back with the family, you had a chance to work with your grandfather. You worked for your dad for a long time. You've taken it over. So this family business has been very successful over the years. Y'all have kept it going. I don't see a son or daughter behind the wheel or in the cab of equipment right now for you, is there?
No, my son works for Halliburton, and he's got a good job. Then I only have a daughter. I don't have two children. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I did not push him this direction.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's never been easy. It keeps getting harder. And in my view, some people might say different. But, you know, getting up early and, you know, it's a lot of stress, and it's not, ain't nobody going to pat you on the back in the public for doing this. It's just not going to happen. I don't care what you do. We've got that stigma, and it don't seem to. I mean, we fight more over a parish road than we ever did, and a lot of the time it's unjustified. It's you know, it's driven over revenue and funds, and hey, this is a commercial industry. We can get a road fixed.
Yeah, it is a stigma with the log trucks, I guess, because they're so visible, more visible than any other equipment that you have out in the woods, for sure. But log trucks aren't the only big trucks on parish roads, so it's unfortunate that sometimes log trucks get singled out for that. But
yeah, I think because, one, we come into an area, and once again, mechanization, which is not a bad thing. You know, it's just, you know, if you move on a road and you run, let's just for math's sake, say 15 loads a day. It's a lot of weight. That's a lot of trucks. And a lot of the roads, for whatever reason, they're not going to handle it no more. They haven't been updated, and that's the sad part of it. And sometimes it's just, hey, we can get a little money here, and I'm not trying to single people out, but it happens a lot.
We've seen a lot of exodus from cities as well for folks who want to live in more rural areas.
That's right.
I think.
That's right.
So
that's right.
You have that, and you have road bases that aren't necessarily to the specifications of city roads.
Yeah.
Then
well,
you
a
run
lot
into
of them.
problems.
A lot of these
or highways.
You go back on some of these parish roads, the ones that are blacktop. I mean, there's a couple that I've lived on in my life. I mean, they're 45, 50 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And some of the new ones, they are built to hold a car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a 2-shot road or 3-shot, whatever you call it. It's not made for commercial, you know.
Yeah. Yet people expect deliveries. They expect garbage pickup.
Oh
they
yeah,
expect,
no, they're gonna get
you know,
that. They're gonna get that. But yeah, it's sad the way it is right now. But I don't see it changing anytime soon.
It'll still be difficult, but again, you've been successful at what you do, and you've been recognized by your colleagues in picking you Logger of the Year for 2024. How has that been for you for this year?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, it's an honor, of course. Something I never figured I would be, but everybody's told me in one way or another that they thought it was a good choice, and we try to do it right. We always have, and we hope that it would pay off one day. And to me, it's great. I mean, it's a real honor to be Logger of the Year, sure.
So right now, there have been nominations for the 2025 Logger of the Year. There soon will be site visits as we record this right now. If you could speak to potential Loggers of the Year, what advice would you give them?
The way I look at it, if you've done it well this long and you're nominated, just keep doing the same thing. It's a great honor. I ain't found a downside to it yet, but just take pride in your job, do it right, and it'll all work out for you.
And though there are a few nowadays, there are some youngsters getting into the logging business. What advice would you give a youngster?
You're in for a long road. It's not easy. You're going to have to work at it. It's not easy on a marriage. It's not easy on any part of it. But if you love it and it gets in your blood, you can do it. It's just, I guess financially you have to be on top of everything. I mean, that's the one thing you can't slide on. And I joke and I play with some people and I say, look, you make more than I do, and they might work for me and they look at me crazy. And I'm like, some days it's true. I mean, there's days you get out of bed and I don't know if I'm going to make money today. I hope I make money today, but there's a lot of days you go out there and you don't. You have to minimize it,
right? Of
course, but there's tons of days that you'll have to go blade a road, or you'll have to go meet a forester, or you have to do stuff, and it's not a 9 to 5, and it's not 5 days a week, and it never will be. It's just too many variables in it.
It is a business, though.
It is a business, and it has to be run as a business now more than ever. If you're not watching everything you spend, everything you do, the profit margin is as small as it's ever been. And you really have to watch it. You're not going to get rich overnight doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not.
But hard work does pay off.
Hard work will pay off, and you can make it. There's nothing wrong with this industry. It's just right now I think it's in a little downturn. If you stick it out, I'm pretty sure it's gonna come back to a quick upturn. But people, there's a lot of guys like me that's pushing 60 years old. That's like, when's the upturn coming? And you the equipment's so expensive, everything's so expensive. It goes back to what I said about working hard. You could make it in the old days. Yeah. Now I can go to work at 2:00 in the morning, but if I get a phone call, a mill's closing, or if I get a quota for that week, that you got to fit all that in. You've got to still be profitable. And if I go and buy a bunch of new equipment and I get all this overhead, I have no leeway, and I have to work. Yeah. But if you can't get the loads,
you have to plan pretty much. That you'll be limited in how many loads you can take.
That's why it goes back to financially. You have to know what you have on the table, what you can spend, and what realistically you can haul. Yeah. Because just because you want to haul more, don't mean you're going to get to haul more. Yeah. Especially the way it is at this current time. Everybody's different, but
Yeah.
I'd be leery of getting too much overhead for sure.
Well, we're hoping for maybe an upturn in housing, which is always a good thing
Good thing.
for the industry. And hopefully the legislature will be working on stuff that will help insurance, because insurance is a perpetual problem for y'all, isn't it?
Insurance is a major thing. True. I mean, it's one of the it's one of the biggies that hits you every year. Like I tell people, I said, well, I just had to pay a buttload of money so I can work this year. Now let's hope I can make enough to pay to get back in the black.
Well, unfortunately, I think that's I know y'all are hit particularly hard with it, but insurance in Louisiana doesn't always mean it smiles on your face.
Look, what happens in commercial trickles down to personal, and everybody's getting a taste of it right now.
Yeah.
Everybody. And maybe that'll force some change. But what's so bad about our part is you can have the best driver in the world. You can do everything right. You can have the safest truck. But if we have a wreck and it's not our fault, it's still our fault, because very few personal vehicles have enough to cover our trucks.
Yeah.
They don't require them to cover enough. So if somebody runs into my truck and they got $50,000 worth of insurance, my truck and trailer might be worth $300,000, $250,000 at least.
Yeah.
So if my insurance has to come off a dime, it's a loss.
Yeah.
And so that's not right, but that's the way it is. So
that's the way the industry is right now.
That's the way it's written.
Insurance
right now.
industry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We have to carry a minimum of $1 million, and what I don't know what a personal vehicle has to. 30 now? It's not much.
I think it's
if it's got it at all.
25, 50, 25. I think it's
so. You're looking at right there. It tells you right there. They can just say, here's your policy. It's not replacing my truck. It's not fixing my truck.
Yeah.
So once again, it falls back on us as a loss. And with your insurance, just say your house or anything else.
Oh yeah.
If you have a claim, it's not good.
Yeah.
Tree falls on something or a limb falls to your roof or whatever, and you use it, you're going up next year.
Yeah, it's almost where if something happens, you got to calculate, well, how much would it cost for me to take care of it myself
out of pocket
versus
out of pocket
making a claim.
So it's not insurance if you have to think like that.
Yeah.
That's not what it's for. It's to insure you
to at least be made whole.
That's right.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be punished for the rest of your 5, 6, 7 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because once it goes up, they don't ever bring nothing back now. That's in anything. Taxes.
Well, yeah, that's true. Taxes, food.
That's right.
Insurance.
That's right.
Take your pick. It's all.
That's right.
It's all on the upswing. Hopefully, there will be some things and policy changes that will help the U.S. economy.
We'll
see how that goes.
I think we a lot of things are heading in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
It's the old saying is it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah,
it's got to get worse. I mean, it just does.
Well,
I mean,
I would hope that we're in the worst.
It's growing
part
pains.
Now.
You know what I'm saying? It's growing pains.
Yeah, I would hope that we're in the worst part now. So, but sometimes I can be the eternal optimist. So,
that's right. That's right.
To a fault.
Yeah, I'm a realist.
Yeah.
I sometimes I might get a little down, but it's when you do something like this so long and you watched my grandfather and be successful, and just because you're successful now is fine, but it kind of breaks your heart a little bit when you see that it's really gotten this hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people in this industry that really they do work hard and they try hard and they do things right, but in the end of it, you might be on the chopping block because it just might not work out. You know, and be honest
that's with
you,
many businesses. Though.
Well, be honest
you're
with
taking
you,
a huge risk.
If you sat down and figured it up on a calculator, it does not look good on paper.
Yeah,
it really doesn't. I mean, because most of the time, right now, a lot of people who's doing it has equity already built up over years.
Yeah.
And to get in it from scratch is it'd be tough right now.
Huge hill to climb.
I mean, you can look at it and you can say, I can do this or I can do this. And if you break it all the way down, this might not be your best option just because, you know, it is hard to make. I mean, if I go to work at McDonald's, I bring home $25 a day. You heard about all the days I said I leave home and I don't make money.
Yeah.
So you kind of figure that in, you know, and kind of like, it's not for everybody.
You're not going to be able to run a logging job at $25 an hour. $25 a day, excuse me. Okay, well, let's look at a high note. You'll be with us for our annual meeting coming up in August,
sir. Yes,
and
sir.
we'll be able to pass on the baton to the next one. That should be something you're looking forward to. And we were very honored to have you as Outstanding Louisiana Logger for 2024, and we appreciate all your hard work, and it's good to see that your family's still doing well.
Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Casey Durand, the 2024 Outstanding Louisiana Logger. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Mind of the Forest. We'd like to again congratulate Casey Durand and his family for their hard work that led to them being recognized as Logger of the Year in 2024. This episode of Mind of the Forest was sponsored by First South Farm Credit. First South is your premier rural lender. With over 100 years financing timber and agriculture, they have the expertise you're looking for when financing rural property. If you're looking to purchase or refinance land, call your local First South Farm Credit office, or you can find them online at firstsouthland.com. If you'd like to learn more about sustainable forestry, including the Sustainable Forestry Initiative, the LFA and its programs, and how you can be part of an organization that supports landowners, loggers, and the forest products industry in Louisiana, check out our website at laforestry.com. You can send comments or suggestions to me by email at jzeringue@laforestry.com. That's jzeringue@laforestry.com. You also can check out the show notes for our contact information, as well as the contact information of our guests in this episode. You can subscribe to Mind of the Forest by clicking on the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. And be sure to tap the notification button as well so you'll know when a new episode drops each month. Thank you for doing that. We really do appreciate it. And remember, at the Louisiana Forestry Association, we're Mind of the Forest for you.